Hey guys, this is Jen Palmer, and today I wanted to do a quick video on how I get my Godox trigger to talk to my Godox flashes off camera. So I have the Godox Xpro-C trigger here, which connects to my Canon hot shoe. So this is really similar if you have a Nikon or the Fuji version or the Sony version. It's basically the same trigger, I believe, but I have the Canon version, so you'll be able to see that. I also have two flashes, the V860II, which is slightly more powerful than the TT600. The biggest difference and the reason why I upgraded a lot of my flashes to the V860II is that the V860II comes with a rechargeable lithium battery. So this recharges versus AA batteries, which is what the TT600 uses. So as a wedding photographer, obviously, it is just much easier to work with rechargeable lithium batteries than with a lot of AA's. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, obviously, is turn on the trigger and turn on the flash. So I'm going to start with syncing the trigger to the V860. So just to turn on the trigger, really simple. You've got two buttons on the side of the trigger. The bottom one is the power, so that's going to turn it on. The top one, which I just recently figured out, has to do with focused assist beam. So I'm not going to go into that now, but I'm going to leave it off for now. But this is a really powerful tool if you're shooting in a dark setting and you want your flash to help you grab focus by emitting an infrared beam on your subject. But anyways, another topic, another day. So I've turned it on. It's kind of hard to see. If you just press the button, the light comes on. So this is sort of a default setting. And then the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out what channel you want to use your flash on. So it comes default on channel 1. And then what you'll see is that you can sync up to 5 flashes. So A, B, C, D, E. These are known as the flash groups, but I'll get into that in a minute. Sorry, it just keeps going off here. But first we're just going to leave everything on channel 1 now. But a reason why you might want to set a different channel is, let's say you are a wedding or event photographer. You may not want to be on channel 1 because there may be somebody else on channel 1, and they will, if somebody else is shooting on the same flashes, they will trigger if you're on the same channel. So I actually always have mine set to channel 8. Which is kind of an unusual number, but yeah, it makes sure that most of the time I don't have situations where I'm interfering with somebody else's signal. Okay, so now your trigger is on. We're just going to go ahead and turn the flash on. Simple on-off button. We're just going to turn it on here. And it's going to come, or it's likely going to turn on in non-radio mode to start. So you can see it's in just basic ETTL mode here. You could just basically plug it right into your hot shoe and it's ready to go. I'm just pressing that just so that you can see the light. Yeah, so to get it to radio mode, this is the button right here so that you can press it to go to radio mode. So, I don't know the technical term for this, but I always press this button, not the lightning bolt, but you want the one that looks like the radio tower, right? So right here, this is the radio tower, right? And then the thing that you'll notice here is that it's actually saying that this is the master flash. So we want it to say slave. And the reason why is because your trigger is going to be the master unit that controls all your settings. The flash is actually going to be the slave that receives all the flash settings. So these V860 units can actually be set up, sorry, the light keeps going off. These V860 units can actually be set up to trigger other flashes, similar to, I know Canon flashes can do that, Nikon flashes can do that. In this case, we want it to be the slave so that it actually receives the signal. A couple of other things I wanted to mention. So you see that this is also on channel 1. And then right now, this is set to group A. So let's say that you change the channel on your trigger. I just want to show you how to do this. You could change the channel here. You just press that channel button right here and then rotate the dial. See, and then you can see the channel number changing. I'm going to go back to 1. If you wanted to change the group, so if you're firing multiple flashes at once, you'll want each flash to have a different group, or if you have several flashes grouped together, you could have 2 flashes on A, 2 flashes on B. That'll control the different settings. So you could have A set at a specific setting and then B set at a different setting. So here, if you press group, you'll see the letter is changing. You don't have to use the wheel on this. I'm just going to bring it all the way back around to A. Okay, so I'm just going to put this down for now. All right, so now we've got our trigger set up on channel 1. We've got our flash set up on channel 1. We know that our flash is set up on group A. So we're going to come to our trigger. I'm just going to press set just so the light comes on. And we're going to come up to group A here. Now we're going to click on mode, and you're going to see that we could set this flash up as a TTL flash. So basically it's going to be an automatic flash. It's going to evaluate the lighting and then make decisions on the exposure of the light. If you have TTL, you can, sorry, let me just go back here. You can actually use the dial. See what I'm doing with my finger here? Change the dial to change the TTL exposure on the dial. Or if you hit mode again, it'll go into full manual mode. So if you want to control your flash manually, same thing. I'm using this wheel on the bottom. These flashes go down to 1/1/28, and then they go in third of a stop increments all the way up to 1/1. So I'm going to keep this on, let's go to about half, right? 132, so we don't blind everyone. Now what should happen is if I press this flash button, this flash should fire, which it does. And what you'll notice is if I pick up the flash, it actually says 1/32. So it actually picked up the setting from the trigger. Now if I change this to, let's say 164 and flash, there, it's picked up 1/64. All right, so now I've set up one flash off camera. Next, I'm going to set up the TT600 in group B. All right, so maybe you only want to use one flash off camera. That's fine. You could at this point just take your trigger, put it into your hot shoe, and start shooting, and the V860 is going to fire off camera. Perfect. I'll show you just real quick how to set up a second flash off camera, and then I'll show you how I put it right into my camera and shoot with it. So similar to what we did with the V860, we're just going to go ahead and turn this on. The controls on this are a little bit different. I don't want to confuse anyone, but again, it's a different model of flash. So in this case, instead of the little lightning bolt button that was on the right-hand side of the V860, it's actually at the top left here. So for Godox, this sort of like zigzag lightning bolt, that's going to be your button that shows you whether it's going to go into master or slave mode. In this case, you want to hold it. If you have a TT600 and you see how it's flashing, then I think, if I'm right, yes, you use the wheel and you get it to S, which is slave mode, and hit set. Now it's set on channel 1 automatically, but it's on group A. You could leave it on group A, but that means that the settings are going to match the V860. Maybe I have it at a different spot in the room and I want it to backlight versus front light. So I want to actually set it in a different group. So in this case, I'm just going to hit this group button right here and change that to B. So now I've got this flash set up on a different group, same channel. I'm going to come up here, go to B. Again, I'm going to click my mode. I want this as a manual flash. And let's bring this all the way down to 128, hit set. Now if I hit fire, both of these should flash, which they do. And you can see this is at 128. This one is still at 164. It's really small, but I can see it. All right. So our last step here is going to be to go ahead and put the trigger onto the hot shoe of the camera. So you've got your trigger here. And here is my 5D Mark III. I mean, it's going to work with any camera's hot shoe. And you just go ahead and put it right in there and screw it in. Right. Okay. You see, I've still got all my settings there. And then all I need to do is fire, and there go those flashes. Now, I don't have to control these flashes from the flashes. I can control them right from the trigger. So if these are on light stands at opposite ends of the room, I can just say I want to change the power of my B flash all the way up to, let's say 116 or 1.8. Set. And then now I fire. And you can see that that is now 116. I don't know if that fired the second time. Let's see. It definitely did. I didn't see it on the video, but I saw it on the frame, which my blown out bookshelf. So there you have it. Please tag me if you guys have any questions. I've tried to make this fairly straightforward. I think for some people, it's going to be pretty straightforward. But if you were like me, or are like me when I first started out, right, I didn't know how to get my flash off camera. So hopefully this is helpful. And I know not everybody has Godox. I'm not as familiar with the other types of flashes, but if you have questions about anything, definitely let me know. I'm more than happy to try. And we're an amazing group of pros, so I'm sure if I don't know the answer, somebody else definitely will. Especially Kim and Leah, who are my co-leads, who are absolutely amazing. So I'm sure they will probably know the answer as well. So thanks, guys, and talk soon. Bye.